Alright, what's up guys? So here we have it. It's a Havoc Demon Hunter, the newest class available in the Legion, World of Warcraft Legion expansion, guys. Only two specs on this thing. You've got Havoc, which is your DPS, and then you've got Vengeance, which is your tank. I do have another video on the tanking. Very fun as a tank, but how's it doing as DPS? Well, basically it's a fairly simple spec with some decent damage. Single target, it needs a little bit of work damage-wise. It feels really light single target, at least right now. AoE, this thing is bitchin', guys. You've got Blade Dance, you've got I-Beams. Both of those are extremely, extremely heavy for AoE. And then your Artifact ability actually throws down the Warblades, and they end up spinning around in circles and does some insane AoE damage to everything around. So this thing is really, really strong AoE-wise. And you can spec it to be even stronger. But how's it doing single target? Well, fairly simple rotation, guys. Unless you spec differently, your basic rotation on this thing is going to be hitting Demon's Bite, which is your Fury generator, alright, which is your resource. And then you're going to be using it on Chaos Strike, which Chaos Strike is just a basic heavy hitting target. Some people say you can use Blade Dance, but unless you spec into it, I don't see to where it's actually doing any extra damage. As to where Chaos Strike hits for about, at level 100, it's about 3,000 to 4,000 more than what Blade Dance does over its little duration. So I don't see why wasting the Fury would be great in that aspect. Now you do have your Metamorphosis, which I just popped into right now, which starts off with the targeting reticle, which was a little on the confusing side to get used to. And when you do that, your Blade Dance is going to change into another ability, and then your Chaos Strike is going to change into Annihilate. Alright, so basically you can do improved AoE damage, or you can end up doing improved single target damage, and the Annihilate hits like a truck, guys. You already do increased damage whenever you end up going into Metamorphosis, and now you can end up doing increased damage with your abilities. I mean, it not only improves your abilities, but it improves your overall damage. So it's an insane cooldown. It lasts fairly long, and then you just do a shit ton of damage all the way through and through. So where does this thing end up lying right now? It is pretty fun to play, guys. I mean, new spec, it is pretty good. I-Beams is absolutely insane amounts of damage. It's ridiculous, guys, how much damage that thing can do. In PvP, one of the things I was noticing was you have a stun. It's an AoE stun at that too, so you do have some utility with this class also. And basically what you're able to do is you're able to stun out and then just use I-Beams and completely destroy whatever's in front of you with no issues. It's on a 45-second cooldown, so it does take some time for it to get recharged, but it's still pretty damn sick. But let's say open world, you're out there and you're doing your thing. You do have this stun. You have another ability called Blur, which is like a defensive cooldown. I believe it increases your dodge chance. Basically, it's like evasion. That helps you out. And then you have a Hunter Disengage also, that makes you do a backflip backwards to get out of combat if you need to. Really cool stuff, guys. It's got a lot of really nice utility to it. And, I mean, if you interrupt, the other nice thing is this will actually fill your Fury bar all the way full. Chaos Strike, whenever you're damaging with Chaos Strike, if you critically strike with Chaos Strike, it doesn't use any Fury, so you can just spam the shit out of this thing on your higher crit levels. Really fun. Very different playstyle with this thing, guys. I really wish I could end up getting a little more involved on it, but it's fairly basic. It's a basic, simple spec that does some decent damage. AoE, when you're doing AoE, obviously you're going to be using I-Beams and Blade Dance more than you're going to use anything else, and you're still going to have to charge your Fury with Demon's Bite, and that works. I mean, Blade Dance is going to be better to use than Chaos Strike whenever you're on 2 or more targets, single target Chaos Strike, but the nice thing is you can also spec Chaos Strike to give you orbs to help your survivability whenever you use it. It's got a random chance. Just something to think about for survivability, guys, because it is you do take a little bit of excess damage, and that's why they give you these defensive cooldowns to survive. Otherwise, you're gonna be squish, and it's a fun spec, but I don't know. It just feels like it's missing something, guys. I mean, you've got the 1 5-minute cooldown, and then you've got your artifact ability, which all it is fire and forget, which Blizzard was trying to get away from. But basically, you throw this thing, these glaives down on the ground. It acts like a Ravager. It spins around. It does its damage, and it's fairly weak. It's weak gameplay, I should say. Not so fun. And then I found myself to where I was only hitting 2 buttons. You know, it was a single target. I mean, it was basically Demon's Bite to charge up, and then Chaos Strike, single target. And then if it went AoE, I was hitting Blade Dance on cooldown, and then, you know, I-Beams was always on cooldown, because that's like your main damaging ability. So you have 4 buttons, and then I even spec'd into Fell Eruption, which Fell Eruption hits like a truck, guys. It's another ability that helps out a lot with single target damage. But it's on a very long cooldown, so it felt like I was playing a 2-button spec, and it was really on the lacking side. But I mean, the damage was still there. So I mean, I'm not complaining about that, but the fact that there wasn't too much to really do, it was just build up your secondary and then fire off. Build up, fire off, build up, fire off. That's it. I mean, you can see as I'm working the buttons, it's just 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So it's a very simple spec, guys. It's not hard at all. It is fun. It does have a cool class fantasy. The mobility is awesome with Fell Rush, which basically that's what makes you zip around, and then your double jump and glide. So the mobility's there. It's a very high mobility class, but whenever you're actually on a single target, just seemed really weak. AoE, it's fucking fun though, guys. I mean, you got the Blade Dance, which is gonna make you jump around spastic like a damn maniac. It increases your dodge chance by 100% for 1 second while you're doing this, so you don't have to worry about taking any excess damage. Like if you're playing Combat Rogue on live and you'd go and hit Killing Spree, how you have to worry about your positioning because it'll end up killing you. They fixed that. They gave it a 100% dodge chance, so if you do accidentally end up in front of the boss while you're doing Blade Dance, you don't get murdered. Nice little mechanic change there. It's great because everybody knows if you've played Combat Rogue before or now the Outlaw and you've ever done Killing Spree, usually half the time you end up killing yourself because it's like, uh-oh, I'm in front of the boss and I just got smacked to death. Okay, shit happens. But again, guys, this thing's playing out very nice. I have no complaints with it. It's going to fit more of a niche on how people's playstyles are. But for me, it's just a little too basic. The 2-button single target really was too basic. I mean, all you're doing was waiting for I-Beams to come off cooldown. Other than that, you're hitting Demon's Bite, Chaos Strike, or Annihilate whenever you're in demon form. And, you know, using your simple 1-minute cooldowns, that's basically it. I mean, your artifact ability's on a 1 minute. It does a lot of damage, but it's fire and forget. I-Beams, same thing. You fire it and you channel it, and then when it's done, you're back to 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. That was all it was, man. Single target. And kind of disappointing. You can spec it to where Blade Dance does more single target damage, like it doubles the damage or something like that, single target, but it becomes weaker on AoE or something like that. And I believe it's in the same tier as Fell Eruption, which Fell Eruption 25-second cooldown did a lot more damage than it, in my opinion. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, throw it a like and subscribe. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that strong of a spec, at least to me. Thanks again.